Hi everyone, my name is Sera and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with a weekly reads video. This is for week number 28 and this is July the 11th through July the 17th. So I talked about this on my Friday reads that I was going to film this video on Saturday. I didn't do that because I ended up getting really busy on Saturday. Today's actually Sunday morning. So I had my second COVID shot last night at 6:15. I feel good. I know that later on I'm going to be tired and probably need to have a nap because that's what happened the first go round. So I am prepared. It's Sunday. I can do that. My arm's a little sore, but that's par for the course. And I have I had a headache kind of starting, so I took a couple Tylenol, but other than that, I feel fine, and I'm just super, super glad that I have gotten and done my part, essentially. It's done now. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, I know there's been talk around about the possibility of it becoming that you have to get like a new shot every year, like a flu shot, which is fine. I get the flu shot anyway. It's not a big deal. So anyway, so that is what happened yesterday. The other thing that happened yesterday, you might notice something different in the background. I did say on my Friday reads that I was no longer buying any new books, or I was going to try not to buy any new books. But I didn't say anything about bookshelves. Yes, I got a new bookshelf right there. The one that's only got a few books in the top. So my husband and I went to Walmart yesterday and they had them there. They were $50 and it's the same one as the one directly behind me. So slowly I'm going to start moving stuff around now. This now makes 5 bookshelves in this room. There's another one right here that you guys can't see. So I think what I might do is have hubby, once I start organizing, is have him move that over so they're all right beside each other. And I kind of like the fact that they kind of go in an L shaped. I could lay them all against this one wall, but I kind of like that L because what I'm thinking is that once they're all organized, I'm actually going to start filming like sitting there. So right now, all of the books need to be cataloged because they're not. My physical books, I started doing it and then something happened and I stopped and I don't know where I left off and stuff is all in a big jumble. So what I'm doing now is slowly moving stuff from that shelf, right? Like from this bookcase right here. Because that light one beside the dark one is stacked 3 deep. And if you'll notice, everything is off the bottom shelves because I've had some issues with the cats. So that's all I'm going to say. Books have been ruined and I was upset. So everything has just been moved off the bottom shelf. So certain feline friends of mine can't get at them. I'm slowly like cataloging these and then moving them over here. And then eventually, once everything is cataloged, then I'm going to go ahead and completely organize the whole thing. I'm not going to try and organize as I go. That's just way too much. So I'm going to do like one thing at a time. Cause like once they've all been cataloged, really the organization shouldn't take me more than a day or two. Because like all the Harlequin imprints will all go together and they're pretty easy to see. Like you just look at the spines and you know what's what, right? And then for everything else that is not category, like everything in that shelf behind me, that's all going to go in alphabetical order. I'm not one of those people, it's like all the paperbacks together and all the hardcovers together. I love the look of a library, like a true library. Like when you walk into the library and it's all organized by author's last name. So you've got a hardcover next to a mass market paperback, next to 2 more hardcovers, next to a trade paperback. They're all varying sizes, varying colors. I love that. I love the way that looks. And that's essentially what that is going to be behind me and moving over into that shelf as well. And then my category will start and it will fill these bookcases, this one, and the one over here double stacked. Yeah, I have a lot of them. So eventually when I get all get them all cataloged, I will let you guys know my grand total of physical category books that I own. Because I am guessing right now, it's at least 2,000, at least. 1,500 to 2,000, I would say, is where I feel comfortable because over this last year, I have done a couple major hauls. I hauled something like 300 and then another 300. So there's 600 right off the bat, not counting all the ones that I already have. So it's a thing. It's a thing. It's a work in progress. But anyway, I have been rambling on. So as I said, this is the weekly reads video for week 28. This is July the 11th through the 17th. I read 6 books this week, you guys. Very, very pleased with that. So let's get into all of my reviews. So the first book that I finished this week was Kissing Mr. Right by Michelle Major. I gave this book 3.5 stars. It is book number 1 in the Colorado Heart series. Publication date of October of 2015, and it is a contemporary romance. This was narrated on audio by Dara Rosenberg. So this was not on my TBR, but I am a big fan of Michelle Major, and I did enjoy this one a lot. So I've mentioned before that I'm taking part in this like bachelor team challenge that I'm doing over on the Romance Readers Reading Group, and last week's prompt was to read a book either by an author from Colorado or a book set in Colorado, and this one was, and Michelle Major is both. Like, she lives in Colorado, and this book was set there, so it fit. That's why I picked it up. It was available on Scribd. It was a fun listen. It was about a woman who is trying to become like a very famous TV anchor, like a Diane Sawyer 60 Minutes kind of a person. And she's working in this small community in Colorado, and she's pretty much doing a lot of fluff pieces, like, oh, there's a new polar bear at the zoo, that kind of a story, right? And one day she ends up running into, like literally with her car, into this guy's car. And his name is Ty, her name is Kendall. And they kind of start a relationship from there. And she's not too sure about him because she has aspirations of being, I don't want to say better than she is, but this is what she wants to do with her life. And she's very focused on that. She's very actually embarrassed about her upbringing because her parents were not very well to do. They live in a trailer park. They did her best with her. And she was actually able to go to a very exclusive boarding school because she got scholarships. And she was treated very badly by the other girls at this boarding school, who of course came from a lot more money. And she's always kind of had that in the back of her head. And she's tried to be like those girls, like to have that confidence, to have that, sadly to say, that the I'm better than you confidence kind of an idea, which isn't the most likable trait in a character, and I will admit that. So Kendall was a little much to take at the beginning of the story, but then you find out, like, she thinks that Ty is just this guy who owns a landscaping business. Like, he's also probably lower class, like she was growing up, like that's the image she has in her head. However, it's very much different than that. He is from an extremely well-to-do family, and he actually keeps that part of him hidden because he's embarrassed by it. He doesn't like his parents having that snobby attitude. So it's really interesting that both of them are pretending to be people that they're not. Not that he's, you know what I'm saying, like how they were raised and how they grew up. And it's their romance. And guys, I really liked it. Like I said, I gave it 3.5 stars. It's the first in a series. I am looking forward to checking out more in the series because it was really cute. You meet some friends of theirs. And of course, as it works with these romances, I think there were 4 in this series in total. So I am very much looking forward to getting to the rest of them. So yeah, I do recommend it. If you are looking for a fun, contemporary romance read, definitely check this one out. The next one that I finished was Missing in the Desert by Dana Mentink. This book I also gave 3.5 stars to. It is a NetGalley read, so thank you very much to NetGalley and Harlequin for sending me an e-art copy of this one to read and review. This is book number 2 in the Desert Justice series. It is love-inspired suspense novel number 904, publication date of August of 2021. So this I'm reading ahead of the game. It's currently available for sale on the harlequin.com website. I don't think it's available for Mills & Boon because I don't think the love-inspired books are sold overseas. Any of my overseas viewers, whether you're in the UK or Australia or wherever, please confirm because I'm pretty sure that's the case. But this one will be available on Amazon and all that stuff as of August the 1st. So if you want to check this one out, you can. This is an inspirational romantic suspense, so it is a faith-based romance. And this is the story of Mara and Levi. So they've known each other since they were children. And Mara's older brother Seth and Levi were actually best friends. So this is kind of a best friends to lovers romance, if you want to call it that. But really the romance came far second fiddle. And I think that was my one issue with this story. I would have probably rated it a 4-star, but I felt like the romance was like the author was writing this great suspenseful story and then went, oh shoot, I need to put a romance in here. So she did. So the two of them flirted with each other throughout the course of the story. However, I didn't feel the relationship. The relationship just didn't feel real to me, if that makes sense. So the whole plot of the story is it's the second in a series, but I read this without reading the first one, is that 5 years ago, I think, Mara's sister went missing in in Desert Valley. And the story takes place in and around Desert Valley, which was really, really, is it Desert Valley? Death Valley, not Desert Valley, Death Valley. And I really thought that that was a really neat location for this type of a story. So it takes place in a small town in Death Valley called Furnace Falls, which I kind of really love. So her sister goes missing in the desert, and she's presumed dead because, hello, it's Death Valley. Has not heard from her. Then one day, at the start of the story, she gets a text message. Not, of course, from her sister's cell phone or anything like that, but from this random cell phone. And all it says is the word marbles. And I guess marbles was what her sister called Mara when they were children. It was like a childhood nickname. So now she thinks that her sister's got to be alive. So the whole plot of the story is them trying to find out what did actually happen to her sister. And it was really good. I liked it a lot. Again, the only part that really, like the suspense part of it, the mystery part of it was really, really good. It's just that the romance itself was really lacking for me. And if this is going to be billed as a romantic suspense novel, you need to have some more of the romance in there. It just didn't feel believable to me. Sorry about that, you guys. I just had my phone cut off on me, so let's try that again. The next book that I finished was Sunkissed by Kasie West, excuse me. I gave this book 4 stars. It does have a publication date, May 2021, so it was released just earlier this year. And this is a YA contemporary. Guys, this was so adorable. I loved this, and I love this for a very specific reason. So let me get into it, okay? This is so cute. So essentially, the reason I bought this book when it was released, because I did buy a copy on ebook, I had pre-ordered it because I saw there was a blog post on Goodreads about these YA books coming out this summer, and this one was mentioned. I'm like, I love the cover. And then when I read the back, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so cute. So it's about a family, 2 teenage daughters. Avery is 17 and Lauren is 15. And their parents are professors, so they're off all summer. And they go to spend the summer at this like wilderness, not wilderness, but this lodge or resort in the middle of the woods. Excuse me. And all I could think was one of my favorite movies of all time, which was Dirty Dancing, where the family goes to this like very similar type lodge in the Catskills to spend the summer. Kellerman's Lodge was the name of it in the movie. And even though this takes place in California and that book took place in New York State, regardless. So I was like, yeah, this is really, really cute and I love it. So I started reading it and I'm like, yes, I'm really enjoying this story. And then I got about 75% of the way through. So the whole plot, well, okay, let me explain this first. So I got about 75% of the way through. And the boy that works at the lodge that Avery, the older sister, kind of has a crush on, he shows up at the back window of their cabin and is knocking on the window. And she shares a room with her sister, and her sister says, hey, Loverboy is here. And all of a sudden, I swear you guys, a light bulb went off on the top of my head. I went, oh my God, this is a retelling of Dirty Dancing. And it was. This is a retelling of Dirty Dancing, minus the dancing and the dirty. As I said in my review on Goodreads. So essentially, the plot of this book is about this family going to this lodge, and at the beginning of the book, Avery kind of spies on these boys who have a band, and they play at dinner. Like, they play this, but it's nobody pays attention to them doing their thing, you know, kind of an idea, right? And so the sister starts becoming very friendly with the band. And then, you know, she kind of, Avery, our main character, she again develops this crush on Brooks, who is the lead, like, he's like the main guitarist in the band. And the story kind of goes from there. But guys, until I finished the book, it wasn't until I finished the book that I sat back and went, yes, like, you could see the Dirty Dancing references in this. And it's like, you know, the family going to the lodge. And in Dirty Dancing, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's the same plot, essentially, that Baby, the character played by Jennifer Grey, she befriends this guy who's a dancer, Patrick Swayze, and she kind of has a very illicit affair with him over the course of the summer. So there's none of that in this book. Like, there's no adult content. This is a YA contemporary. It's a very sweet YA contemporary. The most you're getting is a couple kisses. You know what I mean? Whereas Dirty Dancing definitely went other places. But essentially she, in the book, Avery and Brooks are singing together on the sly because they're not supposed to interact with each other outside of sanctioned events at the lodge. I hope this is making sense to you guys. And the same in Dirty Dancing, like they weren't supposed to be together. And then of course you have the big thing at the end, you know, with this music festival, just like in the movie where you've got the big like stage production, and we're all familiar with the famous song, which is one of my favorites of all time. I could rewatch that scene every day and still be happy. That dancing scene at the end, oh, that scene, I swear to God, is what made me want to be a dancer. And I danced for years and years and years. I haven't done it in a long time, but every time I watch it, it's magical. So for those of you who are fans of the movie Dirty Dancing, you need to read this book. Yes, I only gave it 4 stars, and the reason for that is because, sadly, it probably would have gotten an even lower star rating if it hadn't been for the fact that it was essentially a reimagining of one of my favorite movies. Because the characters of Avery and Brooks, I didn't particularly like. They were extremely one-dimensional. Like, you know, yes, they had some backstory and some stuff going on, but I just didn't feel like they were developed enough for me. And yeah, so that was my one thing I didn't like about the book. Had the characters been a bit more developed, this would have been a 5-star read for sure. I loved it. You know, I still, at the end of the day, even if you're not a fan of the movie Dirty Dancing, read the book anyway because it's super adorable. And it's a quick and easy read. I mean, I flew through it, right? So yeah, definitely check it out if you get the chance. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The next book that I finished was, pardon me, a reread for me. Oh, and excuse me, I do have, so I can actually hold up a physical copy, was Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. The 4th book in the Bridgerton series. This is Colin and Penelope's story. So I don't want to say too much about this really, because there is a major, major plot point. I talked about this on my Friday reads. There's a major plot point in the story that is kind of a big reveal for the first 4 books. Something that takes place during, I don't even want to mention in passing what it could be, because even knowing that I think would be a spoiler. So essentially it's Colin and Penelope's story. They have been friends since they were children. She is best friends with his sister Eloise, and you know, he just always kind of considered her to be like another, like, you know, sibling of some kind, right? And until something happens, does he start to realize that no, she is a, you know, she's a woman. She's pretty and he likes her. He likes spending time with her. He thinks she's sweet and charming and adorable and all those wonderful things. But she has been in love with him since she was like 16. So this is definitely a best friend, a sibling's best friend story. Because usually it's like the brother's best friend, but in this case it's her best friend, like her best friend's brother, kind of an idea. So super, super cute. I love the series. I gave it 5 stars. This was originally published back in July of 2002. It's of course a historical romance. I did listen to it on audio, narrated by the amazing Rosalind Landor. She does such a great job. And as I mentioned in my Friday reads, that this is the first Bridgerton book I've read since watching the show on Netflix. And I just had in my head the characters who played Penelope and Colin, and it was perfect. Even when there's a scene in here with Daphne and Simon, the 2 main characters from the first season of Bridgerton, and that's who I saw in my head too. So it was kind of great. I did love that. But yeah, I have read these books. I think this is my 3rd reread through the series. So next I'll go on to, I think it's Eloise's story is next. Parts of her story are alluded to in this one as well. Again, my same complaint that I had when I talked about this on Friday. I loved the show. I thought that Netflix did a really great job. Casting, costumes, the whole 9 yards. My real disappointment in Bridgerton is what they did to the story. They ruined a very integral piece of the story that comes out in this book. And I was just, as someone who's read the whole series, this is the series that made me really love historical romance. And I know going into Bridgerton, watching the TV show, a part of me is like, you're going to be disappointed because something's going to happen. And it did. And I was. And I felt that they were trying to do too much in the show. They were trying to make it 8-hour-long episodes. And you can't do that to a book that's this size. Do you know what I'm saying? Again, same thing I said on Friday, this would have worked. These books, what they should have done, if they wanted to do like an 8-episode series, right, is do books 1 and 2 in season 1, and then books 3 and 4 in season 2. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think it would have worked well, because you wouldn't have had to add so much and pull so much from other books to make it work, right? Anyway, that's just because there are 8 books in the series. If you did 4 episodes a season, like 2 books per season, you get at least 4 seasons out of the show, right? So yeah. Anyway, that's just that. I still love this. I mean, the book is separate from the show for me. Absolutely. I love them for what they are, and this was absolutely fantastic. The next book that I read was a dud, you guys. Oh my gosh. So I read, for whatever reason, I bought this. I read Summer Sizzle by Sharon Dennis Welf. This book I gave 2 stars to. It is Pen Pal Super Special number 2, publication date May of 1991, and this is a middle grade fiction novel. Okay, I read this series a ton when I was a kid, and I was playing around on thrift books, and I came across this book. I bought this one and the first Super Special, which is up on the shelf behind me. I bought both of them because I remember absolutely loving these when I was younger. It's not a fact. It's partially a fact that this didn't age well. The other thing is that I was completely lost in this story. So the Pen Pal series, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it's about a group of girls, 4 girls, who live at a boarding school. And it's an all-girls boarding school. And they have pen pals from the all-boys boarding school across the way. So it's very much to do with young love and things like that. And then also the female friendships and stuff. So essentially in the Super Special, they're spending 3 weeks of summer at this camp in New Hampshire. The Green Mountains, I think, in New Hampshire. So the thing is that I have not read one of these books in 30 plus years. No, not 30 years. That would have made me 12. 25 years, maybe? I don't know. It's been a while. Let's put it that way. So I don't completely remember the characters. I don't completely remember how old they are. I don't remember their backstories or anything at all like that. So the one thing that those of you who like me are rereading through the Babysitters Club, a lot of us do the same thing if you're rereading through that series. You will skip, usually like one of the chapters almost in full, because at the very beginning of every Babysitters Club book, they give you a rundown of every single babysitter, their backstory, their family, how the club got started, yada, yada, yada. And rereading through the series, I generally skip that. I skim through it and then get back to the story itself. This gave me nothing. Now I see where the Babysitters Club is doing it right, because that means that you could pick up any Babysitters Club book you wanted to, and you're not really lost. You know what I mean? Like, you know who Christy is, who Marianne is, who Jessie is, who whoever is. I didn't know who these characters were. I didn't even realize that they were only 14 until about halfway through the book when one of the girls mentioned it. And I don't even know if all of them are 14, if it was just her. No idea what grade they're in. No idea their family histories. Like, not that I need a full detailed character sheet, but I felt like I was being thrown into this book you had to have read all of the previous books, or at least some of them, to really get this one. And the stuff that they were talking about in here, you guys, wow. And I looked at this going, really? This was 91? One of the girls is smoking. Like, one of the side characters, she smokes. The one girl, this one here, Palmer, talks about her sex appeal throughout the entire book. You're 14. It was just, yeah, I'm like, I can absolutely see why I thought that this was cool and fun when I was 12 or 13. But now, no. Like, this is now a series I originally had thought, oh, if I see them in the store, I'll pick them up to reread them. But no. I'm glad I got this one. And I got the other. I'll probably read the other Super Special. The first one, it's a Christmas one, just because I have it. But I will not be seeking out any more of these. Highly, highly disappointed. Yeah, this just did not age well at all. And I guess that's the reason they're not on digital. And then the last book that I finished this week, you guys, was Drop Dead Gorgeous by Kimberly Raye. I gave this one 3.5 stars. This is book number 2 in the Love at First Bite series. Harlequin Blaze number 390. Publication date April of 2008. And this is a contemporary romance / paranormal. So I didn't love this one as much as I loved the first one. So I read the first book in this series last month. So over on the Categorically Romance podcast that Brie and I host together, yesterday on Saturday, we talked to Nicole from Who Picked This Book, and the episode will go up this coming Wednesday, so stay tuned for that, please. You can hear all 3 of our thoughts on this book. And essentially, I did not like this one as much as I liked the first one. The first one was really fun. This one was also really fun. However, this book puts a ton of emphasis on how you perceive or how you look. Very, very much on appearances, which is very shallow. So the premise of this story is, without giving away too much of the first book, that these are cowboy vampires, which is just fun, right? It's just fun. So our main character here is Dylan, and he was the town geek. He ran the computer store and whatever, and he had a best friend growing up named Meg. And Meg was kind of a tomboy. Her father was coach of the basketball team, so she grew up without a mom, and her dad kind of, really raised her in a certain way, and she loves sports. And that's fine. You can be a girl and love sports. It doesn't make you a tomboy necessarily. However, that was a whole discussion that we got into on the podcast. So anyway, then what happens at the end of the first book is that Dylan gets turned into a vampire. So he goes from a guy who looks like, Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory to this dude right here, right? And now all of a sudden women all over town are throwing themselves at him, right? So Meg wants to know, what did he do? What did he change to have these women come after him? Because she's looking for a guy. And the guys in town just view her as one of the guys, kind of a thing, right? So he gives her lessons. But the thing is, it's not him. It's the fact he's a vampire. And he's, giving off this pheromones, for lack of a better word, that he is very desirable to women. I mean, that doesn't help, or that doesn't, that doesn't hurt anything, but that's the reason why. But he doesn't know anything. So, of course, there's a relationship between the two of them. I mean, it was cute. I gave it 3.5 stars, you guys. It was fun. But yeah, I mean, if you're reading through the series, definitely read it. I mean, it's entertaining. I'm not saying don't read it, because it was, but just understand that a lot of this book is really based off of appearance. And I mean, again, it came out in 2008, so there is that too. But anyway, yeah, this was fun. So that is everything that I read this week, you guys. So what am I currently reading? So I started yesterday on audio Save the Date by Morgan Matson, which is a YA contemporary, another YA contemporary. And this one's cute. It's about our main character, Charlie, and she's the youngest of 5 siblings. And one of her siblings is getting married, and the whole family's back together for the wedding. And that's really all I know at this point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this one done in the next few days. I'm also still reading on ebook A Delicious Dilemma by Sera, I believe. We're supposed to be, we are interviewing her tomorrow on the Categorically Romance podcast. Don't know if I'm going to get this done in time. I would like to finish it today, but we shall see how tired I am and how many naps I choose to take. Because I figure if I'm tired, I'm just going to lay down. It's just easier that way. Embrace it for what it is. So yeah, this one I will talk more about next week, but and Gorn is just saying hello. I'll bring him up so you can say hi to him. Come here, baby. Oh, meow. Oh, meow. Oh, no, I don't like this. I'm almost done, sir. Then we will play with the feather. I know. Life is hard when you're a Gorin. He's our old man. On August the 6th, he's going to be 15 years young. Aren't you, sir? Aren't you, baby? Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. I know, you guys like seeing them. Say hi to the people. All right, I'll be with you in just a moment, sir. There you go. So, cat fur now on my lips. So, anyway, the other book that I started yesterday was Good Twin Gone Country, I think is what it's called, by Jessica Lemmon. So this is the 4th in a series. It's a desire novel. And in a previous book, our main character's twin sister married some guy. So this is about a set of twins. Like her twin sister is a music star, a country music star. And this sister in this book, she's like her manager or publicist of some kind. And everybody thinks that she's like the good twin, the one who wouldn't do anything bad, the one who, you know, she's kind of boring and stuff like that. So she's trying to change her persona, essentially, and that's what this story is about. So I'm only a couple chapters into it. I just started it last night on text-to-speech on the Gloss app from Harlequin, just because I just wanted something to listen to while laying in bed, so that's what I did. But anyway, guys, that's everything I'm reading. That is it for this video. I have no idea how long it is, because unfortunately the camera cut off on me. But I'm going to get this edited and posted, and then I'm going to relax for the rest of the day. There will not be a video coming from me tomorrow. I thought about filming my knitting video, but I'm just not feeling it. I'm just tired, you guys, honestly. I've got the headache's getting, you know, bad, so I think I'm just going to cut it off here and get this edited and posted. But I will be back on Wednesday with a new video, I promise. It will be my NetGalley video, so stay tuned for that, you guys. And until then, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.